Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Look What I Found, a Mythos Busters production. This is Sean. Joining me are my Mythos Busters. We've got Nick and Ian and Scott. Hey dudes.
Hello.
Hi.
And tonight we bring to you the second half of our saga for Look What I Found in the COVID age. We've got two more cards from the Innsmouth conspiracy to preview for you, and we're gonna get right down to that. So. I believe, Scott, we need to have a bit of a plan here. Plan of action. Read it.
Sure. Plan of Action is a Seeker skill card. It has one wild icon, always love that, and practice traded. And if this skill test is during or before the first action of this turn, Plan of Action gains a willpower icon and an agility icon. If this skill test is between the first and third action of this turn, draw one card if it succeeds. And finally, if this skill test is during or after the third action of this turn, Plan of Action gains combat and intellect icons.
Where
This one's weird.
where,
It is.
where exactly does one begin?
Well,
It's like evaluating three separate cards.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So I suppose the important thing is to, do you guys think there's actually maybe a breakdown of actions that are more often taken as the first half of the turn versus the second half of the turn?
Well, with the willpower icon, right? Like that is
Mythos, hopefully, right?
Mythos, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
because before the
agility.
first action would be Mythos. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you got that as protection, and then if you drew an enemy during the Mythos, your first action is as a Seeker probably to try get rid of it, or get away. So evade.
Sure, potentially.
And
Yep.
then the last action you're probably setting up on a clue location or finishing off a location. I'm not sure how often you use the combat icon, so I can kind of see that as being the end. And the middle is kind of like, I don't know, draw a card.
There you go.
Now, just to be clear, the card draw in this card only works on your second action, correct?
Between the first and
Is it-
third action.
Or if you do a test as part of like a free action ability, which I don't know if any exist,
Mhm.
Sure.
or a reaction. But yeah, as long as it's after your first action resolves before your third action starts.
Right.
I just like how it's plan of action, and then the two aggressive skills are on the last. So like you're planning to use that. You know what I mean? Like I just love the theme between that. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's such an interesting card.
Mm-hmm.
And then, are you, if you're committing this on your second action, are you hoping then to draw into your clue for your... I don't think this...
I was gonna say I'm not actually sure now about the Mythos phase, because if this skill test is during or before the first action of this turn,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you can actually use it in Mythos for the willpower.
Well, that definitely cuts its stock down a little bit, if true.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is very interesting, and Seekers needed a card that wasn't absolutely busted.
Yes.
Yeah, something that we all didn't just immediately go, "Wow, this is good."
This helps
This
you
is
win the
neat,
game.
though.
Play it.
I mean, I'm trying to talk it through. Like, what makes me want to take this over Unexpected Courage, for example?
The card draw, I guess.
Yeah, that would. But
your
then,
second action, yeah.
For your second action only.
I'm trying to I feel like there's something here that I'm not finding yet.
You know who would like this? Because I was thinking Joe Diamond originally because of that combat icon, but that's literally the only thing he's going to like off of this. But you know who would make good use of this more than just one of those specific instances? Is Finn.
Oh.
Or Min. Min would like it too, but Finn especially, because he gets the free action to evade. If you draw an enemy during the Mythos phase, you're going to be evading right away anyway. Drawing the card is nice, and then he uses combat, and he has high intellect. So
Yep.
I think this is a Finn card.
I think you hit the nail on the head with Min. Like if you're playing something,
Oh sure,
the one you said where you your Min deck where you just throw icons at other
Oh,
people.
I love that Min deck.
This is like the toolbox of all toolbox cards.
Mhm.
That you can just scale how many icons you're giving to somebody else. You know, like do you add
Mm.
one boost to this if you're using God, what's her you can do it at any location. Her signature
Analytical mind.
analytical mind, right? Like this is before or during first action of this turn. So on every person's turn, this is cycling through its options.
What are the odds do you think that you catch the right moment to play this, like the clutch moment? Because I feel like every time if I'm playing that deck with this card in it, every time someone takes a skill test, I'm going, hold up, and then you insert that meme of the woman doing all the calculations.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think that you're gonna like. This is the kind of card that you're probably gonna hang on to because you're waiting for the opportune moment. Which is weird because it has 3 different opportune moments. But I still foresee like me specifically playing this card, hanging on to it longer than I should. You know, because I'm like, well, I really want this when I need to evade, or oh gosh, I'm really bad at fighting, but I need to fight this. I need to pass a 1 combat test, so I need to hang on to this.
That's the classic
So
I might need this later conundrum.
Yeah, the whole JRPG, when do I use my items? The actual answer is never.
Yeah.
Never, because the game is balanced as if you didn't have any, so.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
I guess a couple things. One is whenever I see practice these days, it makes me think of practice makes perfect. I don't know if it's the best practice makes perfect target, but
Probably
it's
not.
possible. And then it is some value there. And then the other thing is I feel like lately there's been quite a few decks I've been building that actually can't even take this card because it's Seeker. But I have built some decks lately where I'm really trying to maximize wild icons in the deck for various reasons. So that's potentially another place where, like, even if you're looking at it as just a wild icon that draws a card, that can be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea of using this with practice makes perfect because if it's in your deck and your deck's kind of slim, which I mean, with Seekers, obviously you're going to have that because you're drawing so many cards. But if you know like when you're going to be taking like if you plan it out correctly with practice makes perfect, you could use this in the second action with practice makes perfect. Go grab it, draw a card, and then you take it back to hand because you know in your third action you're going to be investigating, which then you put this down for 2. You know what I mean? Like. I think there's some really cool plays there.
I feel like
then...
I'm incapable of ascertaining this card's value before I get my hands on it.
Yeah.
That's what I've concluded.
And it's one that the value is going to vary wildly from scenario to scenario. Like very, very wildly. So
yeah. I think that's Trish on the art, right? Am I right on
yes.
that? Yep.
Elliewood Sane mentions in chat, does Ursula take this?
I think she likes it.
I think so, because I mean, if you draw an enemy, the first action you're going to do is evade, and this is +2 to that. And then you have 2 actions if you're using that middle, like because between the first and the third. Oh no, so on or after the third action, because she gets an additional action with the investigating, she gets 2 chances of using the intellect icon.
Right, just like with Finn, if you had an enemy on.
Yeah.
I think anybody who has decent will and because I guess with a Seeker you're looking at probably higher will and higher int, and I think Seekers with those who have 3s or 4s in both will and int would like this.
Like Norman or something.
Yeah, sure, Norman, that would be an interesting one. Although he's doing a lot of just hard will tests as you go on. I think, at least the way I build them.
He also don't want too many skills.
Yeah, because they're dead on top.
True.
Yep.
Daisy maybe casting spells with will. And
Daisy. I could see her using this.
I feel like you. One last thought. I feel like you play this for the flexibility, right? Because if you just need combat icons, there are other places to get them. If you need willpower icons, you can find them elsewhere. So I feel like this is probably going to go best in like solo flex. Because I just feel like this only gets good when you want potentially most of the icons it could afford you.
Yeah.
This is the perfect solo flex card because it can kind of do all 3 things. Not great, but I mean, in solo you need that flexibility.
Yeah.
If you're like in, when we played TFA Iron Man and I was Ursula, I wouldn't take this because I just want all the intellect icons. All I'm doing is getting clues, right? Like you guys just clear the way for me to just get every clue. This is not a card that I want in a multiplayer game in a very focused deck.
Yeah. I think the funny part is the second Part the drawing a card effect is the one I kind of laughed at first, but the more I look at this card, I think that's the one I might want the most.
Mhm.
Just a wild icon that draws you a card, like yeah,
Mhm.
that's not bad.
Well, should we hand the next card over to Nick?
Oh, begrudgingly, yes. Nick,
All right, I'm guessing this is a guard. I'm watching the stream, so I'm waiting for the card to come up.
would you please read Bloodborne the card?
Bloodborne. Oh, yes, I remember this one now. Okay. Hand of Fate is a guardian event. It costs 3 resources, has will and combat icons, spell and blessed trait, so Mateo can take it. Fast. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location. Cancel that attack. Then add blessed tokens to the chaos bag equal to the attacking enemy's total combined damage and horror values. And yes, we have Bloodborne art in the card, and I love it.
It's pretty
First
great.
thing I wanna point out, doesn't say non-elite.
Yeah. Oh,
then-
so you get an attack from like
True.
Umordog,
a Mordoth. Mordoth, yeah.
like 6 blessed tokens.
That's awesome.
Also, this is a great Diana card, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, stacking this up against the other options you have for canceling enemy attacks, you're paying an extra 2 resources to get some blessed tokens in the bag.
Yeah, and I think you probably want, like Phillian mentions in chat, you probably want to hit it at least canceling 2
Yeah.
damage and horror, so you're paying like 1 each for each bless token.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think we know the balance of bless and curse tokens yet, as far as what is the
Yeah.
math, like what how much is a bless token worth the effort? You know what I
Right,
mean?
Mhm.
like how many do you need in the bag before you really feel like, yeah, I'm feeling it now?
Or like like do you
10.
play as if there's a 0 cost card that just says add a bless token versus a card that costs, I don't know, 5 that adds 10. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
where does the number versus effort versus resource, like I don't know what they're worth yet. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
is 1 per resource good? But it might be more? Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to judge. The nice thing about this card is it has some useful traits like spell, so Marie
Mhm.
can take this, bless,
Mhm.
so Mateo can take it. So for those, I'm like comparing in my mind, like, is this better than Hypnotic Gaze? Because they're both 3 cost cancels of an enemy attack. Hypnotic Gaze potentially causes it to deal damage to itself. So I'm trying
What
to
about
think of which one is better.
Well, Hand of Fate, you can. Or I'm sorry, Hypnotic Gaze. That's in a class that you can set yourself up to always, not always, but very likely deal that damage back to get that rider. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
With the token filtering. And if you're going heavy into that, I don't think you take Hypnotic Gaze unless you're going heavy into that strategy. Whereas this, do you take this if you're not doing
Mhm.
bless stuff elsewise? That I don't know.
I think I think a lot of decks, and this is a hot take, and maybe it's already happened because I haven't really been paying attention, but I think that a lot of purple decks or purplish decks are going to be running Robes of Endless Midnight, whatever the robes are called.
Roads of
Mhm.
Endless Night?
Yes, Robes of Endless Night. And
That's
this is
the cost reduction.
yeah, and this is a spell
Yep.
card. I feel like probably Sister Mary's going to want to take this. She could potentially take the robes. Diana's going to want to look
Well-
at this. She could look at the robes. I feel like
What
Right.
there are a couple spots this sits in where taking that 3 cost down is, doable.
well and
Sure.
Mystic got the what's the thing, the accessory you test your willpower to play a spell?
The
Shine
trapezohedron.
That one.
Yeah.
So in something like Diana, once she gets up to like 5-6 willpower, is this an easy test to play this for free to cancel an attack and then add bless tokens? So I could see that working.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, though. Like, this costs 2 more than dodge.
Yeah.
And if your biggest thing is we got to get that cost of 3 down, and that's the only thing you're looking at with this one, then it's like, well, why not just run dodge then? You know what I mean? At least in that particular instance, like with Diana. That's why I'm saying, like, is this worth it if you're not also doing bless play? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if you're not doing bless play, you just take dodge.
You just
But
take
if
dodge,
you're
yeah.
but if you're
Mhm.
mucking around with that chaos bag, this might just be
Mhm.
unbelievably good.
Also,
It-
I've kind of taken a weirder stance on bless tokens, where now, like, if I see something that adds a bunch of them to the bag, now I have this itching in the back of my head that just says any one of those bless tokens can pull into the tentacle. Like, having 6 bless tokens in the bag is great, but if I draw 3 of them and then the tentacle, like, well, whoop-de-doo. You know what I
It's
mean?
just a sadder path to the tentacle.
It is, yeah. It's just a roller coaster now instead of a pitfall.
You know that's gonna happen pretty often. You're gonna
is!
chain
That's
like
just-
3 bless tokens into a tentacle.
I've played games with me. I know what kind of tokens I draw.
When I did Italian dressing with Nate, twice he has drawn because he has a thing where
Yeah.
you can add tokens to the bag or whatever, bless tokens and curse tokens right now with channel points like on Twitch, and twice in one game he drew bless token tentacle.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it it hurts. I mean,
Yeah.
the odds of that happening is the same as you just drawing the tentacle.
Oh,
when
sure.
but the pain you feel is
It's much worse.
Exactly. It's not about the probability. It's about the emotional trauma it causes in me.
Yeah. Take
Yeah,
one mental trauma.
I think with Sister Mary coming out in Innsmouth and she's Guardian, I assume there'll probably be some stuff that
Yeah.
plays off of Guardian. I mean, bless tokens in the bag, so we'll have to wait to see that whole kit that she gets to
Mhm.
judge this card, I think.
Mhm.
Big Kahuna says, honestly, he's not looking forward to bless and curse tokens. Any token that draws another token is just too much tension.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Not wrong.
It's like the same as the scenarios that have bad stuff token. That's always the cultist, like reveal another token if you fail. I don't know how
Yeah.
many times I've drawn that into a tentacle,
Exactly.
including 2 back-to-back invocation games with Casey, where our game hinged on that. True cultist into tentacle. Oh god.
Or even worse,
yeah.
premonition into it, and you're like, well,
Yeah, premonition.
Yeah. Guys, I saw the future. It's not great. All right. Well, those are fun. I'm super excited. Now, there's been a question that's come up as we've talked about these cards. Do we know at this point whether Innsmouth itself, the scenarios, plays around with Bless or Curse at all, or is it a completely player card situation?
Don't think there's been anything that says the encounter cards do, but I don't know for sure.
They talked about it on the stream, but I would have to go back and watch it because I don't remember what they said.
On the announcement stream they did?
Yeah, when they did that announcement stream, I remember they did mention something, and they talked a little bit about how each class interacts with the blessed tokens and curse tokens, but it's been so long I don't remember.
I was just curious because someone pointed out that might be the case, and I can't remember if they were being very definitive or not, but then I got to thinking myself, like, oh, do I actually remember a specific instance of it being mentioned that this was also an encounter card mechanic? And
I would be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, because the tokens are coming in the box. Like, I feel like they would really want to play with that in the encounter cards, but who knows?
yeah, that was my instinct.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just curious because it does become a little bit of an interesting game if the player cards are going to be the only thing playing around with these tokens, which means that these cards have a different value proposition within the metagame of the conspiracy as a campaign.
For sure.
Which, to me, is one of the most interesting things about Arkham is the campaign metagame that comes out of it. So, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us for these very special player card previews, and thanks again to FFG, and thanks to Evan specifically for hooking us up. We always love to share these with you guys. If you haven't already, basically every name I'm seeing in the chat here, we're going to see you in Discord probably, but if you haven't joined our Discord, please do. Someone can post a link. That'd be great. We're about to go hop in and play a silly Arkham-based game for our next episode, episode 90. So come join us. And otherwise, we'll see you guys next time for Look What I Found. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.